Now you can finally build an AI Telegram bot that runs 24 hours a day in just a few clicks. If you've been struggling with an AI bot that goes offline the moment you close your computer, today I'm going to show you the easiest way to fix that. I'll reveal all the tools you need, along with the 3 best things you can do once it's set up. So let's get straight into the first step, where we're going to create the actual Telegram bot. So once you're inside Telegram, you want to search for a user called BotFather. This is the official bot that'll help us create our own custom bot today. And the best part is that it doesn't require any code at all. All we need to do is type new bot and press enter. By the way, you don't have to remember all these steps, since I wrote them down inside a free document that you can download from the description below. As you can see, it asks for a display name, which can be whatever you want, so I'll call mine Yuri AI. Then it also asks for a username, and the only rule here is that it has to end with the word bot. So let's press enter, and the moment you do that, BotFather sends us back a long token, which is basically a private key to your bot. So please don't make the mistake of sharing it with anyone, because they could use your bot without you knowing and spend your credits. Save it somewhere private, because we're going to be using it later on. Right now, we've got our own Telegram bot, but it can't actually do anything on its own. You can send it a message, but you'll see nothing happens when you do. And that's because it needs an actual AI behind the scenes to work. The best option for that is Hermes, a free and open source agent that we're going to set up in just a second. And for that, I search for a different account called User Infobot. Then I'll type start, and it gives me back a number. So let's save it. So with that, we've done most of the Telegram work, and our bot is now registered. But like I said, right now, it can't do much, because it doesn't have an AI model behind the scenes, which brings us to the next part of this tutorial. And now, we're going to set up Hermes, and honestly, there are only 2 ways to do it. You can either install it on your own computer, which means you need a bunch of other software like Python, Node, Docker, and Hermes itself, and that can get really messy if you're not a technical person. There's also a bigger problem with this, and it's that the second you close your computer, the Telegram bot stops working, and that's the whole reason we're doing this in the first place. So that brings us to the second option, which is using a cloud server. That basically means we're using another computer from the cloud, which lets us run our Hermes agent 24 hours a day. And the easiest way to set it up is using Hostinger, because not only does it give you full support all the time, but it also lets you do this entire thing in just 1 click. And to make things even easier, I actually left a link in the description down below that gets you straight into this page, which is a setup flow made specifically for Hermes. So once you're on it, click choose plan, and these are all the subscriptions you can choose from on Hostinger. Now, for our Telegram bot, I highly recommend going with KVM2, because it gives you enough power and memory to do anything from web search to running multiple tools at the same time. You can also go with KVM1, but that's really only for basic stuff, and since the difference between these two is just a few bucks a month, I'll definitely go with KVM2. So let's press choose plan, and now it takes us to the ordering page. The first option to select is the period, and here you can choose between 1 month, 12 months, and 24 months. I'll go with 24 months because it saves me the most money. Next, we move on to the second option, one of the most useful things I've seen on this platform. It's called Ready to Use AI. What it basically lets you do is use any AI model like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini without buying a bunch of separate subscriptions. So I'll make sure to select that. Then I scroll down and check the box for instant web scraping. 1,000 credits is $0, but you can scale it all the way up to 10,000. Below that, we've got the daily auto backups, which you can switch on if you want, but Hostinger already runs a weekly backup on its own, so you don't really need to worry about that too much. Next, we need to choose a server location, and this should be as close to you as possible. The location itself doesn't change what Hermes can do. It just cuts down the delay when you open and manage the server, so pick the one with the fastest response rate. Once that's done, you can pick an operating system if you want, but I'll skip that since it's optional. Then let's press continue, and now it asks us to create an account. So after you do that and pay, you'll get a confirmation page where Hostinger gives you one more setup form. These are the credentials that protect your Hermes terminal, and as you can see, Hostinger already generated the admin username for it, plus a strong password. To see it, just press the eye icon, and once you copy it, save it in a password manager. Then just press deploy, and let's wait for the server to build. It drops me straight into the Docker manager, and as you can see, the Hermes agent project is right here, running. So in just a few clicks, we've got the Hermes agent online. The only catch is it doesn't know which AI to run yet, and it's not even connected to the Telegram Telegram bot we just made. So let's open the Hermes terminal, and to kick off the setup, you just type Hermes setup, which walks you through configuring the whole project. Now this is a terminal, and even though it might look intimidating at first, I'll show you every word you need to type and every key you need to press. So even if you've never done this before, it's going to be really easy. Now the first choice we get is between a quick setup or a full setup, and you want to go with full setup because that's the one that actually lets you pick the model, connect Telegram, and turn on the tools. In a terminal, you move around with the arrow keys, hit space to select, and enter to confirm. So let's do that. And now it asks for the model provider, but since we grabbed those AI credits earlier, this part's already filled in. So all you do is pick a model from the live list and paste in the key. Then you turn on Telegram as the channel. And this is the moment it finally asks for that bot token from step 1. So you paste it in, and now the server and your bot are officially linked. Right under that, it asks for the allowed users, and this is where you drop that unique ID you got from the info bot, which makes sure only you can use the Hermes AI. Next, if it asks whether this should be the home channel, say yes. So anything it does on a schedule later lands straight in your Telegram. Then turn on the web search, skills, scheduled tasks, and memory, because these are exactly the ones we need the most. For the search itself, pick the Oxylabs web provider. And with that done, our bot is finally working. The only thing is, we're still inside the terminal, and that doesn't mean it's also working on Telegram, so let's go ahead and test it out. I'll open Telegram and go straight to the bot we just made. But instead of just saying hi to see if it's alive, I'm going to give it an actual task. I want it to find me the 5 biggest AI announcements from the past week. So here's the prompt I'll be using. And after a few moments, it gave me all of that, including the date, the resource link, and pretty much everything I asked for. But if I wanted to read this kind of news again over the next few days, it'd actually get pretty annoying to type out that same message over and over. That's why one of the most important things you can do is learn to create skills inside your Telegram bot. And the way you do that is with a simple prompt. So anytime you notice you're doing the same repetitive task over and over, you can use a prompt like this one, which tells Hermes you want to turn that process into a reusable skill with its own name. So let me actually do that, and now that I've pressed enter, the AI basically locks in the exact steps I'd be running multiple times. So now, instead of rewriting that same task like before, I can just tell it to run the skill I made by calling its name, and here's what I get. This not only saves me a ton of time, especially when I'm on my phone, but it's honestly really useful. But what if you wanted a skill like this to run on autopilot from time to time? So instead of opening Telegram and asking it every time, you just get a weekly update containing the output of your skill. And that's exactly what the second most important thing is all about. With this, you don't just get updates on your phone, you can actually schedule anything you want, from news alerts to a full research briefing every single morning. And the way you set that up is with something called cron, which is really just a scheduler with a more technical name to it. You just talk to it in plain English and it handles the cron part for you. So let me walk you through what you actually say. You start with Hermes cron create, which just tells it you want to set up a new scheduled job. Right after that comes the time, and you write it in this exact format, 09, which looks really strange, but simply means every single day at 9 in the morning. Then, inside the quotes, you write the actual task you want it to run. And this part really matters, because a scheduled job runs in a fresh session that doesn't remember any of our chat. So you can't just say, do that thing again. You have to spell out the whole task right here. And at the very end, you add skill followed by the name of the skill we made earlier, so it runs that exact process instead of starting from scratch. So once that's in, I type list my cron jobs, which shows me every scheduled job I've got and confirms this one actually saved. And it hands me back a job ID that I copy. Now normally, I'd have to wait until tomorrow to see it work, but I don't want to do that on camera, so I trigger it right now by typing run cron job and pasting in that job ID. As you can see, it did exactly what we asked for. And that's the real difference from the last one, because the skill only ran when I asked it to, but this fires itself on a timer, even if my phone's in my pocket and I'm asleep. Now, one of the most important things when it comes to the Telegram bot is actually its memory. And by default, it's not even turned on, which means any information you give it in one chat gets forgotten the moment you close it, so it wouldn't really be any more useful than Google or Siri. But luckily for us, we already activated it back in the setup phase, so now we can just test it out and see if it's working. And to do that, I'm going to send it some information about me and see if it remembers it. Now, without telling it anything else, I'll simply close this conversation and start a fresh one by typing new. Now let's ask it if it knows anything about me using this prompt. And as you can see, it remembered all the information I gave it earlier, which means no matter how many new chats you open, it still remembers everything. But honestly, all of these steps would have taken us at least 2 hours to set up if it wasn't for Hostinger. So if you want to create your own Telegram bot without wasting hours fixing $9, go sign up to Hostinger using the link in the description down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.